Hi guys, welcome to the All in the Head podcast. This week we were joined by local Belfast boxer Tommy McCarthy, hopefully soon to be World Cruiserweight Champion. Hope you enjoy. That's us, yeah. Right, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of our new podcast, All in the Head. We're joined by local boxer Tommy McCarthy. Tommy, myself, and Vincent here. Just want to welcome you to the podcast. So, how you been keeping during the old quarantine lockdown?
All right, thanks for having me, lads. Everything's I'm doing as well as I can. I'm doing as much training as I can, like what's possible, and just it hasn't been too bad because I've got to spend a lot of time with a family and with the kids. Of four kids, but of two young ones, so it's been great being around them and like forming a stronger bond because I'm with them like all day, every day.
Yeah. So where do you usually be training in respect of, the way you're saying you're home with the kids? Would you be away or?
Yeah, so I have I'm training out of Dublin now. So I will be in Dublin every day training, well 4 days a week at least.
Stay
And
down there?
I don't stay, but I drive down in the morning and then I don't get
Hmm.
up in bed. So I'm out of the house all day. It's like fellas going to work or women going to work, they're out from 9 o'clock that morning, they don't get home till 6 o'clock at night. So that's where it is. That's where it's been for me since last year, training out of Dublin.
So it's not as if you're away like weeks on end and your missus hates you or anything.
No, Ellie hates me anyway, but Danny fucking still loves me a bit. But I'll do like that does happen. No, closer to the time if you're going away sparring and stuff. But like day to day, I'm just driving up and down.
Tell me this, Tommy. Do you think there'd be like a drop off in the standard after all this? Obviously, I'm a big UFC fan. The UFC, they can't really get training properly because gyms are closed and stuff. Do you expect a drop in standard for yourself or for any other boxer?
Well, it depends when they have an hour show again. And all, I'm not a big MMA, like I don't follow it. I'm a casual fan. But I know the show was on the UFC a couple of weeks ago. But as you say, they haven't had the right time. They haven't had the right preparation. So obviously, the standards in that show might have been a bit lower than previous shows. But from a boxing point of view, if they had, like, say, they announced there's going to be a show on the 10th of June, like it's not enough time for boxers to get in the gym to do sparring. Sparring is the most important thing in combat sport. So to go in that fight without sufficient sparring, everyone's time's going to be off, and everything's just going to be not as good as what it could be if you had the full 68 weeks training camp.
And do you have equipment at home, like a bag, and do you get out running or whatever?
Now I've no bag, because I've nowhere to put the bag. Like there, when the sun was out, a few people offered to come and put one up at the back. But I told them, like, we're getting carried away here. It's going to be raining again soon, so there's no point in putting a bag up for fucking 1 week, and then it's going to start raining again. So the main thing what I've been doing is shadow boxing and going for runs and doing body weight exercises, which is as good as anything.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. You think that you've access to these gyms. I have one in work, and you think that you need all that stuff, but this has forced me to go, fuck, I don't really need any of that. You can sort of get enough done with your body to keep you ticking over.
And a lot harder. You can't really, like, when you're using your own body, you can't really bluff, if you know what I mean. You can't, there's no hiding place because you have to do everything right or you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah,
See
that's
if you're
true.
staying up and around here, Tommy. You're not training in Dublin. Where would you go? Would you go down to any local gyms or
Go to my amateur gym, Oliver Plunkett.
yeah, with Eamon Oak, he trains the kids down there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So would you bounce in lend a hand as well or just
Yeah, when I have free time, I'll call in and I'll work with kids and stuff. So Albert Plunkett's the only amateur club I ever boxed for my whole career, so I'm a lifelong member. And
Yeah.
he wants me to coach. He's busting for me to come in and coach, but I haven't got the time at the minute because of my own career.
Mm-hmm. And then your own kids as well. Obviously, it's hard to give up your time for other people's kids whenever you barely see your own.
Exactly.
So I don't know if the listeners, but I don't know, or your fans would remember that you used to have a not so glittering football career. So at what point did did the football go out the window, and then you went, I think I'll go to the boxing?
Well, the football, I think you played in the team above me, the year above me, right? But this is what happened in the football. I started off like a promising start in my own age group.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know this. This is like a friggin' folklorist tale now. Playing a match, and I jumped up and handballed it. But the story just get just added on, and embellished just through it. Like just I heard one part, then you jump up and catch a ball and start toe tapping it, and then go up and score a point, which is not true. I just jumped up and smacked the ball away. And but when I handballed it that match, Kevin says, "Right, you're not playing no more. Put me up in the your age group," and he was like, "Oh, you're too big to play for us. I think I was meant to be under 10." And
See,
so
you're actually born the same year as me, but you're one of the younger ones. So
yeah,
I'm 30 and all.
I signed not till November.
Yeah, but now what I remember is I think you had the dreads, didn't you?
Yeah. So when I came up the year, I think you all like all of that team were all like going through puberty and all, and voices and all broke.
Well,
And
I wasn't.
I fucking I was what everybody else was fucking had mustaches and all. I was going, fuck, I was big. Like it was a big.
Yeah.
So I never got on. I don't remember that. Like I was sub all the time. And then when youth eventually moved on, and then my own age group come in and they let me play again,
Mm-hmm.
they'd all improved, and I was a year behind. So I knew it was just a waste of time.
See that games change now in terms of whenever we were younger. It was like 11 aside, and we're all running about, and only the better players really got a kick of it. Whereas now the kids are in smaller games and they're all getting more of an opportunity, which is good. Like so. Though I did think whenever you first came in, I was like, he looks a bit like Henrik Larsson, but it was a shame he didn't play like him.
You know what? The getting moved out of my age group ruined me. Cause see my
Yeah.
day before 2 goals was flying. Cause I was bigger and stronger and everyone my own age and faster and also just one mistake. And you have to remember this was under 10 for God's sake.
Yeah.
Me and lad jumped up to head the ball and I slapped it away. And they didn't want me to be great. So
You were a victim of your own DNA.
exactly.
Are you still a football fan now, Tommy?
I'm not a major fan, but I love to see Celtic win.
You delighted yesterday then?
I love it. I was gutted and get down the Falls Road. If I didn't have all these kids that have been straight then.
You still been drinking from yesterday?
I don't know, I didn't get a drink or anything. So, but I Celtic that's actually my loyalties lie with.
Is it all your kids? Are they all 4 of them girls, or is there any boys?
And all boys. So hopefully
No boys. So it's safe to say in your house, in the world rankings, you're definitely bottom of the pile there.
The pale, like ask you to do something. If they ask me can I do something, if I say no, then they just go and ask their mummy, or it's just no respect at all.
Go ahead with it.
I was thinking about making a changeover, moving it over to boxing. And do you
Right.
find, Tommy, that boxing, obviously we're a mental health podcast, do you find that boxing is sort of crucial to your own mental health and well-being?
Definitely, like I always said, if I had a son, like I would never, parents would say, if they want to do something, it's up to them. But if I had a son, I would push him into boxing at a young age, and then when he get older, if he didn't want to, then he could walk away from it. But I think boxing is a great sport where it's a mind game. Like I don't know if you ever heard people saying, but it's like 90% mental, 10% physical. And I started boxing when I was 12, so to be in that world, like that has given me a strong mind. And without it, like if with the clubs closed now, then it makes me. Or if I take a break, I'm going, Jesus, like what's wrong with me? Getting me a bit agitated, but I know it's just from not being in the boxing environment. But it has been a major role in my mental health, definitely.
So even though it's like an individual sport, obviously the likes of yourself, Tyrone, have very other boxers very close over the years. Do you miss that, like the whole camaraderie being in a club environment?
Yeah, like the boxing is the say it's an individual sport, but it's a team sport really, because like you say when do your MMA fan, like if you see boxers or fighters, they're always thanking their team, and you don't you can't get prepared on your own. So you've a pad man, you've somebody who comes up with game plans, you've your sparring partners, you have just training partners who are just to keep me company in the gym, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists. So there is a team. It is all a team effort. But you do like you don't any fighters they would struggle to be in the gym on their own. Doing anything on their own is hard. Like the problem shared, the problem half. So it's great to be like you form a family, like a boxing family I call it, because your life is in you're trusting your life in all these people's hands. So it's you do form a great camaraderie.
And do you have a team that travels with you? So say you move gym or you move, do you bring a certain amount of people with you, or do you just go in and you just take what they have?
Well, my team at the minute, we have I'm training with Pete Taylor, who's Katie Taylor's dad.
Yeah.
So we have a big team at the minute, and all different weights. So going to training, there's about 13, sometimes more people in the gym, which is brilliant. There's a buzz. But when I go on the fight, my team is small. I have strength conditioner, who's my cousin, um, Pete, who's the head coach, my manager, Mark Dunlap, and then my pad man, who's a guy from Morocco called Kareem. So that's just the wee team. And Tyrone McKenna always comes in with fights just because he's my mate, like he's my best mate. So that's the close knit team that I have.
Tommy, see in terms of, whenever I play football and whenever a lot of people play football, there's always at the end of the day you have the option to turn around and go, well, it was his fault. It's his fault. And then you're saying about the team around you. For instance, like in your last one of your big fights, or maybe 3 fights ago, you were heavily expected to win. Whenever something like that goes wrong and you're standing there as an individual having to give like an interview after and then you have to go home, how do you deal with something like that in your own head?
For me, it was very hard to deal with. That's probably my lowest point in sport, and probably my lowest point in my adult life. But as you say, it's a team. But when things go wrong, it's all your fault. So in boxing or in combat sports, it's just you in the ring. So everything just falls on you. But if you win, you notice the coach's stock goes up, the manager's stock goes up, the sparring partners, everybody's stock raises. But if you lose, everyone just points a finger at you. Oh, you didn't do what you were told, or you had bad sparring, or you missed training. But I don't think that's fair, because everyone's quick to take credit when somebody wins. I gave him great sparring, or I gave him a great game plan, or I done this, that, and the other. So it's a hard sport that way, and most, let's say, probably like 99% of boxers know that's the way it goes. And if you, like, for instance, when I get beat, if I was to come out and say, I had a shit camp, and I had shit tactics, and I had a shit corner, everyone would just, the boxing fans would just get stuck in the big time. They go, oh, he's making excuses, and nobody would respect you. So you just take it on the chin and complain about it behind closed doors. But in the public forum, you just have to grit the teeth and just say, right, I'll get it the next time.
Tommy, a couple of things there I just wanted to say. I disagree that people, maybe it's okay interviewing the winner after, but I don't think you should interview the loser, like in that 10 minutes after they lost, because if I lose a game of FIFA in 10 minutes, I'm wrote off, like, emotionally. And I can only imagine if you put 12 weeks into something, 15, 16 weeks, whatever, and you lose narrowly or you lose it all, your head's all over the place. Do you think that?
Big time. Like, that's why after that React Port loss, I just jumped out of the ring, just went straight to the change room, because I didn't want to say something in the heat of an emotional moment live on TV. So I just went straight to the change room and get ready.
Are you not obliged? Do they not make you stay for?
Well, not really. Like, when you get beat, nobody gives a shit about you, and that's just the cold truth about it. Like, if you they will interview you if you're standing there, but if you're not standing there, they're not going to go looking for you.
Well, yeah, because you see it all the time. People after getting knocked out and stuff, they're having to stand there, and especially in UFC. And Joe Rogan actually stopped doing it if someone was knocked out, because if you're just been knocked out, how can you expect them to even put a sentence together?
Some people, I've never been knocked cold out. Like, touch wood doesn't happen, but when people get knocked out, they've been there, they can't even remember what happened, especially if they get bad concussion. They're going, what happened now? They go, I'm ready to fight. No, you see guys get knocked out and they don't even realize that they fought, they can't remember it, and then I'm on next. So it is a wee bit shocking to try and interview them to talk about something that they can't even remember.
See, in respect of, obviously we're talking about people getting knocked out and getting hurt, whatever. So it's not my view, but it was originally of watching UFC that some of it can be a bit barbaric. See the people that would say that boxing would be along those lines. How do you think that it changes somebody that maybe has problems with, like, anger issues? Do you think it's a good forum to channel those problems?
Definitely, but you don't have to fight or hit someone. You don't have to compete in boxing to get rid of your anger. Like, you can just go to the gym, hit the bags, hit the pads, and just do the workout, and it will release a lot of stress, because there is a lot of built up stress, especially for young men in West Belfast. That goes like this thing. But I don't know what it's like for kids now, but when we were young, it was like everyone wanted to be respected. And you don't want to show too much weakness or be too different from other people. So when you get to a boxing club, it's great. You learn how to throw punches. You learn how to defend yourself. But you're also getting fit, and your confidence is building. Like, when I was young, I didn't have anger issues, but my confidence just went through the roof after the first week. I was going, I know how to fight. I know how to defend myself. This is brilliant. So it is a great thing for young, because anger is usually coming from a place of confusion. So when you go to a boxing club or an MMA gym, like, you find the purpose. You find something about yourself. You're hitting a bag. You're working away. So it's great to calm people down.
Can I just add to that, Tommy, what you're saying about, it was about respect and he's the best fighter, and how do you find that translates then? Obviously, you're no joke. You're like a European champion boxer. How, if you're struggling with your mental health, does that translate in terms of going to speak to someone? Are you more reluctant, or do you have a good close friend like Tyrone, like you were saying, that you can say whatever you want and he's fine?
So, like, I think sometimes people just want to talk, want to get something off their chest, and they don't even want anybody to say anything back. I know that's the way I feel sometimes. You know, like, if something's annoying you and like you want to go and talk to someone, but you don't even want their advice. You just want to just let off some steam. So you need to find someone who understands that about you, like a good close friend. Like, I'm lucky enough to have a few close friends who will listen and not be judgmental. But if you don't have something like that, there's no shame in going to a counsellor and just like earn out your feelings, because keeping stuff bottled up definitely is not. It just leads to things boiling over. That's my
Definitely.
opinion.
I myself, and this is one of the reasons obviously why we're doing this podcast, I've had my own mental health problems and I've spoke to counsellors, but I've been at the start, most people feel like you're the only ever person that has happened to, but I'm open and honest about it and I tell people. But I've even speaking to a counsellor, nobody knew I was there. So basically, like, if you needed to speak to a counsellor even now, the chances are no one's going to find out, even if you really are worried about this whole macho image. And
yeah, like I've spoke to a sports psychologist, because, like I said, boxing is all about how you feel up here. And the first one of the first things he says was, your body will carry you for as long as your mind will. Your body won't quit on you until your mind quits. So coming through the amateur system, we always had sports psychologists from the age of 17. And then when I turned pro, I was trying to, remember all the stuff that they taught us. But if you don't keep practicing, obviously it's going to go away. So I was talking to Mario O'Hara, who was studying to be a sports psychologist. And he said to me, like, you have a nutritionist, you have a strength conditioner, you have all these different coaches for different aspects of your game. So why do you not have a coach for your mind? Like, and a lot of people are ashamed that people don't want to seem like they have a weak mind, but everyone's mind is like, you're influenced so easily without even knowing that you're being influenced. So I got in touch with a sports psychologist. I actually think he's just a psychologist all around, but man, for a sporting aspect, Kevin Young, and he was just brilliant. And then the sessions that I had with him, it was almost like counseling, but just in talking to him and just saying what was on my mind and stuff that you want to say, but sometimes you're afraid to say. And he just listened and just threw a couple of wee things back at me, like to change my perspective. So I really, really enjoyed it. And like, even if you're not doing sports, the thing talking, it's good to talk, and that is how people can not fall into depression or get stuck in a rut. Like, if something's on their mind, just let it out.
Would you find coming up to a fight, you would start to get sort of anxiety creeping in, you sort of lose a wee bit of sleep or anything? It's only natural, you're risking your life.
Like, all the questions, like, no matter how hard you train, you start asking yourself, did I train enough? Did I do enough rounds sparring? Did I lift enough weights? Did I do enough miles running? All these wee doubts start creeping in. And that's why, like, it is great to have a mental health or a mental health coach, so he can give you techniques to block them questions out, then we doubts. Because when they start creeping in, if you start dwelling on it, then it's going to be like, oh Jesus, it didn't, and then you start getting more anxiety and panic, which is dangerous.
see, in respect of that, obviously blocking stuff out. See, whenever you turn pro, and then obviously as you go through the fights, the rounds start to increase. Does there ever come a point where you go, fuck, I've 12 rounds tonight. The last fight I had, it was 8 or 10. And then it's almost like when you get the 8 rounds, you just feel yourself blowing, but really your body isn't. But is it in your, it could be in your head? Is that?
That went through it. Would every time we stepped it up, because it started 4 and then up to 6. And I remember doing the first 6 rounder, I was like, because amateur's only 3 rounds. So doing the first 6 rounder, I knew I was fit because I trained hard. And I was like, oh, Jesus, 3 rounds? I'm wrecked here. How am I going to do another 3 rounds? I was like having all these thoughts in the middle of the fight. And then when I got to the next fight was an 8 rounder. And I started feeling the same way. And in the mid rounds, maybe like 4 or 5, we lost count their rounds. What rounds? It's this fight's never going to stop. This is going on forever. And then when I upped it to 10, then I'd never even sparred 10 rounds before, because there's a thing in boxing to say you never spar as many rounds what you're going to fight. You don't run a marathon to do a marathon. So I'd only sparred 8 and fought it. So at the end of the 8th round, I was like, oh, Jesus, now I'm going into uncharted waters here. But it's just the first time doing anything. Stepping in the unknown, you're a wee bit panicky. But now I've worked my way right up through 12 rounds, and like I'd love 12 rounds.
Yeah, see the last fight, the Fabio Turkey fight, isn't it? In Italy. That was like the freshest I've ever seen you in like later rounds. Sometimes I've seen you've looked labored. Have you changed anything? Because you look really fresh going into the rounds.
So that fight, that changed everything, and my coaching team, my camps, and brought in the mental health coach, the mental strength coach. So we worked on a lot of stuff on like being in the moment, like not worrying about what's going to happen next round or what's he going to do, just staying in the moment and worrying about myself. And all the techniques that I picked up, the fight was just flying by. And like I remember sitting down for like the 4th round and then coming back for the next round, sitting down, looking up, and it was like round 9. I was going, what the fuck? We're like, this fight's near over. So it was great. And that's goes back to that point again. It's all up here. Like, when the main's strong, everything else falls into place.
See, as part of, I've noticed that you say that quite a bit, Tommy. I've seen it in a couple of your interviews. Is stay in the moment something that you practice? Do you meditate? Is there anything like that you would do?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't sit and meditate like every day, like, but I would try. See, I had on this course, right? It was a philosophy course, and before every wee interval you have, a wee tea break, they would do a wee thing, a wee exercise, meditation exercise, and you can just do this wee thing, just getting centered again. Just stop for a minute, close your eyes, and just like just feel everything. Be aware of what's going on around you. So we do that all the time. Even though I'm just sitting watching TV, I would just go, I'm really fucking sitting here watching TV. Like I'm sitting, like just as simple as that. Or if I'm holding my kid and going, this is my kid. Just feeling the weight of her in my arms, or all just stuff like that. Just being completely aware of your surroundings. And I try and do that every day. But to be in the moment is, once you're in the moment, there's no worries. You're not worrying about what's happened before or what's coming. You're just right there. So I think that's why a lot of people do get anxiety, because they're worrying about what's happened or what did I do yesterday. But when you're just focused fully on the present, it's bliss.
Does that mean then that, so when I watch fights, I'm sitting going, he's landing too much, he's landing this, and I'm sort of scoring it in my head. I know nothing, but I'm just trying to score it. Do you do that while you're fighting? Are you going, right, he's not really getting near me, or I'm controlling this? Or are you just trying to focus on the next jab, the next whatever?
Well, that's so like I had a big turnaround in last year, 2019. So in March when I fought Reactor, like I beat, I got stopped, and then in October I fought Turkey, and I beat him. And Turkey on paper probably like really is a better opponent than Reactor. But during the Reactor fight, I was doing that. I was going right. He's landed, boom, right. He's landed. I am landed. No, like trying to score it myself. I could won that run. I could have done it. But then after I fight, once I got everything together, with a fix what needed to be fixed behind the scenes. Then with the Fabio fight, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about what I am doing, not worrying anything about him or what was going on. I was just completely focused on executing what I needed to do, and that made the fight go in fast, and it just made me feel more comfortable, and it got the win. Like when I fought Reactor, I was looking at him going, Red, he's getting tired. I'm gonna get him in the next round here. And then he just cracked me and my legs went. So if I had been in the moment, I would have just dove on him out instead of like, well, I'll get him the next round. So that was a big lesson for me.
See, whenever you go into the corner and you're winning a fight and you're winning the round, I've heard a lot of times them turn around and say to fighters, you're losing that round. Is that just a reverse psychology thing that they try and...
Yeah, but I don't think it's right. I think you should just be like, it happened to me as in the amateurs. I remember we went away to Denmark and I was about 16. I was punching the head of this fella. Like really, he hadn't hit me one punch. And I come back to the corner and the coach says, "Oh, you're down." And I went, and he says, "You're two down." And I was like, "Oh, he hasn't hit me." And he's like, "Oh, well, the ref must be hitting me because you're two down." So then I ran it the next round like a madman, just like millions of punches come back at me. What's the crack now? Oh, that's a better round. It's level now. Like, level? What the? I started panicking then. I was going on just robbed. Ran it the next round, just emptied the tank, and then came back. This when you were a kid, it used to be 4 2-minute round. Come back at the end of the third, and I was like, "What's the crack now?" Right, you're two up. So asked me right. So the last round, I just moved, like to try and stay out, like not land any punches. And then when the score come out, I beat him 40 points to 10. I said, what the fuck? He said, I just says that just to get you going, but like it could have made me walk on to something, do something reckless, and get caught. So I think it's better just to be honest.
Yeah.
How much of it do you take in? So see, for 3 minutes you were getting the head punched off you, or you were punching the head of someone, then you sit down. How much of that information can you actually take in during the breaks in the round?
Well, for me, I take it all in. I rely heavily on the corner, but I know other fighters, like the likes of Tyrone and Paddy Barnes, I don't even think they're listening. They're just like on autopilot. So, but
And is that a criticism of them, or are you joking?
no,
Or
certain fighters just like they know what they have to do. Like they've done everything in the camp, so they're just like in fight mode. Whereas I'm in fight mode, but I'm looking for guidance.
yeah, you can make adjustments in between rounds.
Yeah.
See, a turkey fight, for example, when they say stick to the game plan, this, that, and the other, like, no harm, but he couldn't fucking see the last 2 or 3 rounds. So, like, where's his game plan there? Is it just stay alive?
I see that fight. It was so much like that was the last chance saloon for me, and they offered me a fight as a stepping stone for him
Because he
because
was unbeaten.
he was unbeaten, and I had just lost to Reactor, and he just won that title. So I was the first defense. It was like, look, beat him, and then they were looking to go on the fight for the world title after. But I just knew I had to beat them. So I think their game plan was just go in there, just just blitz him. Like I don't think they were prepared for me to come out with like a game plan or the even try and win. So it just caught them completely off guard. And then the team said to me after, "Oh, we underestimated you." So
How does that make you feel when they say they underestimated you? Is that sort of a backhanded compliment, or is that sort of putting you down?
nah, just I knew they underestimated me because they like see if you're a champion. Like he had just won that belt, and then he offered me it first thing. And as a champion, your first defense of any title, you want the easiest defense you can get, but the most credible but easiest. So when they offered it to me, I knew that they would underestimate me big time. So I took it kind of as this, but I was like, this is perfect for me because he's a big name. They're hyping him up to be the next big thing, and then I just go in and just wreck a party, and that's what I did.
Take a 0 away.
Took the 0 away and just took everything from him. Like, see you in Italy, he's like the friggin' Anthony Joshua of Italian boxing. Like everything, Matchroom Italy, all built around him. Like he's the big star. And see, the week before, like I was cutting weight, so I was sitting eating a bit of fish, like no sauce, no nothing, just a fish, just sitting there. And I went on Instagram, and he was at the Lazio game on the pitch at halftime doing an interview saying about a fake meal. I was going, this is fucking well. I'm sitting here in Lanadine eating a fucking fake under the half moon lake, and he's up fucking talking about fighting me on whatever Italian Sky Sports halftime at the Lazio match. This is weird. That just even motivated me more.
How to get in there. See, if you weren't doing boxing, how important do you think, even if, as you say, with your own kids, would you suggest them to stay in any sport, or do you think it's important for mental health?
I think sport, everybody always looks to sport for mental health. Mm-hmm. And definitely it is, because you feel great after you train and all, but it doesn't have to be sport for mental health. It's just an interest.
Yeah.
Like you need to find something that you're interested in that gives you gratification. So it could be like an instrument, or like art, if you draw something, or anything, reading a book. Just find something that really interests you, that you're passionate about and makes you feel good after you do it. And that will, like, see if you had an instrument, say like even something like a tin whistle that you can just keep in your pocket. If you learn that, it makes you feel good. Anytime you're feeling down, you could just sit there and just play a wee tune, and it'll pick you up. So just find something that you really love doing. It doesn't have to be sport, because everybody isn't sporty.
Yeah. Would music be a big one for you?
I love music. So, like, before I was doing any sport, I was playing the guitar.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I'm actually going to start playing it again. So,
does it relax you playing it?
No, I haven't really played it in years, but I just liked it. It was just something that interested me, because all my family were all into music, so it was just like me just kind of just following what my family were doing.
Am I right in thinking, Tommy, you're a relation of Labyrinth?
Yeah, so he's my cousin.
Yeah, I think maybe we had that conversation before.
Yeah, he's my cousin. So like, I was playing the guitar when we were kids, and then he come over, and I was showing him how to play. Like, I was playing before he was playing, so I was showing him a couple of wee tunes, and then he like got really deep into it, and then I started boxing and all, and got into sport. Now he's a fucking superstar musician, and I'm fucking getting dug in the head for a living.
What age is he? Is he close in age, is he?
He's 31.
31, right? So he's actually older than you.
Yeah.
But you just tell him I can still slap ahead of you, like.
What? Everyone knows it. I don't need to say it.
Just to get back a wee bit to the sport thing, I've never ever competed in like combat sports, right? But I've taken a few punches, and I think there's something humbling in getting punched in the face that sort of strengthens your character as you get older. Would you agree with that?
100%. I used to love it when I was a kid, and the bullies from the road or the bullies from school would come to a boxing club, and when you're young and you're in school, a lot of bullies never even had the fit to get this reputation that they could fit. So they could have, like, just off their reputation alone, could manipulate stuff and just make people do stuff and never get chastised for it. So then they fell in this, like, thing of, oh, I can beat the world. See, every time they came to a boxing club, we quiet guy, get in, spar, punch ahead him, and then they would never come back. And I used to just love it all the time because, as you say, it's humbling to get punched in the face. But then that shows you what kind of person you are. Are you going to come back again and try to be better than what you were the last time? Or are you just going to leave and go, oh, it's boxing shit? I remember we lad came to a club and hard man in the street. He was there for a week, and then another quiet guy. I'm not going to name any names because he's know them. Get in, he punched the head him, and I'd love to just get him in the street. I'd knock his content. Then the next day, sparred again, and then that was it. We never seen him again. So I thought there's so much respect between fighters, because you get in and they're hitting you as hard as they can, and you're eating it, and then trying to hit them back as hard as you can. So it's like, and it's not out of anger; it's out of sport. And then after, that's why straight away, anytime I've seen a fight, they're over and they're hugging each other because, like, I took your best, you took my best. Like, it's all respect.
Yeah, it's even that. Obviously, everybody knows McGregor. Even with his trash talk and getting under people's skin, they still always hug straight up because at the core of it is respect for one another
All
and the game.
For the showbiz, like, none of that's real. And see all the hugging and the respect after that, there is just like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, that's just the first thing to do, like, because the respect is just there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be one for doing that, would you, Tom? Slobbering much? No.
I wouldn't. I need to up my slobbering a wee bit. Trying to get some more big money fit.
See, I think that's a lot of attraction to it. Go ahead.
This may be too personal, and tell me to shut up if you want. Do you have like a manager or someone who would be in your ear saying, Tommy, get on social media, call him out, do this?
My manager would be the opposite for my manager, because when I was looking at the fight scene, I was going, anyone who's talking shit, they're all getting these big opportunities and big fights. So then I was starting to try and do a bit of bubbling on social media. Then my manager says to me, look, don't be saying them. Just leave it. Just let the fighting do the talking, because see, if you're doing too much, people will go, fuck, he must fancy himself, and they'll be afraid to take the fight. So just sit quiet and wait for the opportunities to come around. So I think it's kind of a thing trying to find the happy medium of promoting yourself but not scaring away opportunities, because it's very hard being in this country to get opportunities. Like, nobody wants to. It's not that they don't want to, but they don't need to fly out Irish fighters when there's like millions of fighters in England that they can just drive up there in the country to fight each other, and millions of fighters in America where they don't need to fly people in. So it's very difficult being an Irish fighter.
I always thought that doing that. Now, I don't really like McGregor as like his persona. I love him as a fighter, but what amazes me is that all his trash talk must heap on way more pressure, and he's able to deal with it. But I don't imagine that. I certainly couldn't. I couldn't go out here and say, Tommy, I'm going to knock your bollocks in, and because I would be riddled with anxiety going, what if I don't?
Yeah.
What if I don't beat him now? I'm going to look like a dick now.
Yeah, it depends the kind of person or there. Like, there's like, if I don't know if you ever go to Dublin, but the Dublin, everyone in Dublin is just so confident. It's just the way, it's like the culture, or just everyone in Dublin is like McGregor. And when I was growing up, it's not like as if they're copying McGregor. That's just the way they all are. When I was growing up boxing in the All Ireland, we used to go to Dublin. You would have thought they were all world beaters. Even the shape boxers were just like, they can all talk. So that's just a Dublin thing.
So what, after obviously the turkey fight, what be next on the lineup for yourself, do you reckon?
Well, that turkey fight really like catapulted me up the rankings and all that stuff. So I was made mandatory for the European title, and then once that happened, I got an offer to fight for the world title, and the manager negotiated all the terms, you know, and everything was agreed. So I was scheduled, well, not scheduled, but agreed the terms, and the date was the 11th of April. But once everything was agreed, we were waiting on the official announcement, and then a week went by and it didn't come, and another week. So about 3 weeks went by and I still hadn't announced it. So I just turned my attentions back to the European title. But I was still training, and because everything had been agreed on both sides, it was like, this world title's going to come off, and they're going to ring about 4 weeks before and say, right, you're still good to go, we're going to announce it here. So that's what we were training towards, and then Corona hit.
Yeah. See, in terms of like boxing, and providing for your kids, do you ever worry in the sense, like, you know, if 2 or 3 fights get cancelled in a row, is that no paydays? Like, does that ever give you like anxiety or anything about providing for them, or?
Nah, see, not that I'm like a superhuman or anything, but anxiety's never been something I've struggled with. Obviously, have bouts of anxiety, everyone does, but I've always kept the positive mental attitude. And it's happened like from 2017, 2018, there was no fights. So if you don't fight, you don't get paid. So I had no money. Yeah, I could just get married. I didn't have a baby, but like there was no, like, the future was looking bleak. But I just always kept the faith, because no matter what, it always gets better. Always, like, no matter the rough times are, it always comes back around, and everything be alright. That's what I found in my own life. So I never let myself get too down about it. And you always, I don't know if you went this, but always when money's running low, something always happens, and then you get money or you get a job or something like that. So I've never been overly anxious about it. And then even this Corona, like, you don't know when boxing's going to happen, but I'm not too worried about it, because I know on the other side something big is like coming, because of where I am in my career.
Where do you get that strength from, Tommy? Is it from God? Is it from wife and kids? Is it from...
No, I think it's just being, I don't know where I get it from. I always reflect on my own life all the time. A lot of, as people, I was gonna say as a boxer, but just as a person, you do have moments when you're on your own, and you just, like, I always look back on my life and try and connect the dots. Like, this happened for this to happen, and then for this to happen, or if that hadn't happened, this wouldn't have happened. You know, like that kind of stuff. And when I look at my life, there'll be rough patches, but it always works out. So if that's the common pattern, like, um, and it has been the common pattern, like, I'll try not to worry. Try is the main word. Try, because obviously you do worry, but it's just keeping the faith that things will be all right.
Did anybody like? Because obviously you lost your mum was at a young age. Did anybody sort of like step in and instill that sort of like guidance to say, be strong, this, that, and the other? Because obviously as a kid, it's hard to be strong.
Um, nah, nobody really did. I think nah, nobody actually did. When I think, where nobody like stepped in and was like, "You need to do this for a moment." But my whole, cause I was young, like it didn't really hit me as hard. I don't think it did hit me. Obviously, I was a young boy, and young boys love their mommy, so I was like, I was in bits, but it didn't. Like I think if my mommy had a dad when I was 20, then I probably would have fell into like a worse state of mind. But I was young, so I had all my friends and then all my cousins around me, and everyone was not like being nice, like the pain came. So I just kind of went through my life, even to this day, is like try and make your try and make your mommy proud, or like, or for people to. Actually, my mommy was from London. We lived in London, so not too many people here would have knew her, but I always feel good when I go to London and I meet people who learn, that's Kim's son. Like I always wanted to be said with pride, not like, oh, he's a wee scumbag, or like he's let his mommy down or let his family down.
Yeah. So so obviously when you say for like somebody who was 20 or 25 or whatever or lost their mate, it would be easy for somebody to use that as an excuse and turn like down a wrong road. Would you say like what would you suggest for toxic if that happened to somebody? Would there be any way you would sort of say how they could deal with it, from your own experience? Obviously there's no right and wrong answer.
My, because when I look at that, I I really should have ended up a maniac because my mother died when I was 7 going on 8, and then I've no brothers or sisters. I'm living with my granny and granda here in Downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the only black kid in the whole estate, only black kid in the school. Like I'm just, and then my granny used to say to me that you better work hard in school because like you're a black Catholic, like you're really like everything's against you, and so all this pressure. I don't know where I got the man from the not go down the wrong road, but it was a thing of like for me was I wanted to represent myself with pride. I wanted people to because I knew I was already sticking out anyway. So I wanted everyone. I wanted to be recognized for somebody who was a good fella and who didn't get into trouble or bring any trouble to the door. But that's it. You have to take pride in yourself. Like if somebody was older and they're going through something again and they use that as an excuse, it is a reason for you to go off the rails, but it's all about trying to stay focused and take pride in your own self. Like everybody in the world wants to be liked. Nobody wants to be known for being a rat or a scumbag. So like whatever you do, it all comes back to you. So you have to just take pride in your own self and try and make sure you have a good name. And it's not even for anyone else. It's for you. It's all about like you could call it self love. You know what I mean? You don't want to. You wouldn't want somebody to like if somebody's if your mommy's one of your mommy's dead, you wouldn't want somebody to say his man was a cunt. So why would you want somebody to say it about yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, a lot of people out there would like to strive. I know I do a bit that you want everyone to like you, but you just from a young age, you just seem to give off this persona, just like I'm not even trying, but everyone seems to warm to you. Do you even realize that's happening?
Yeah, they do. Sometimes I get surprised and I'm like, know if I meet new people and would just like hit it off, and I've always had this thing where I meet people and they just get comfortable and just start telling me all like personal secrets and all. I'm going, Jesus Christ, like, holy man. But and but sometimes it does shock me. I go, Jesus, I get on with anyone. But I think the thing is, people are striving. If you're striving to get everyone to like you, then you're not being yourself. But if you're just being yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, like I'm very comfortable with me, so my own like self comfortability, if that's even a word, that makes
It
other
is not.
people.
It is now. We're not going to argue with you, Tommy.
But me being comfortable in my own skin, like I think that just radiates the people who's around me, so then they can feel comfortable. Like I'm not like gonna judge anyone for what they're wearing or who to support or anything like that. I don't care. But there are people who are they thinking people's judging them. People are judging you, but like you shouldn't care. You just the main judge is the person in the mirror. So once you get in tune with your reflection, then there's nothing to worry about. There's no price on you.
I would go one further and say that I think a lot of the kids' problems today is the influx of social media and the constant comparison with other people, judging themselves through everyone else's lens rather than, like you say, looking in the mirror and going, no, I'm fine with who I am and this is what it is.
Yeah, definitely, because like I have a wee girl who's 13 and she's got a phone and like she's just stuck with her phone. We all are, everybody's glued to their phones, but I think we were lucky enough, we were the last generation who kind of missed it, and it didn't come out until we were in our late teens, early 20s. So they are comparing legs, oh, they got this many legs, or look at that photo, look at this photo. And we're lucky enough that we never had to do it. So it is a lot harder to focus on ourselves. But the main thing, I think, for anyone's mental health is to be comfortable and get to know yourself. And a lot of people, I think people are afraid of it, especially if they build up a whole new persona of, for talk's sake, if it was the hardest man on the road, but deep down they were a softie. Like they don't wanna accept their realities. You have to accept who you are and be okay with.
Yeah. So basically, Tommy, we'll get on to near the end of the show what people do to relax. So I actually noticed quite a good wee one. I've noted it down here on your Twitter. A wee bit of music. Are you you seem to be a wee bit of an R&B man. I've seen a wee bit of Ashanti, Southside.
Right.
Would listen to that kind of music relax you?
I like. I'm a big R&B fan. I'm a R&B guy, and I love all music, but I would say R&B for me. I want to like. But when somebody tweeted that about Ashanti Southside, and then when I like retweeted, like everyone thinks that's my favorite song, but
Oh, no, I know it's not that, but I just go,
it's
he's a
one.
wee, Big Tom's a bit of me early, because that's a wee bit of Ashanti, like.
So now so what was the question? What to do to relax?
What kind of music would you listen to relax? Would R&B be your go-to? It's just that I seen that and I went, is that
Yeah,
as mine's
definitely.
is R&B, like 50s is probably rap, but
Like you could get some. It all depends what mood you're in. Like my the relax, I would always play from like slow jams, R&B. But then sometimes if I'm relaxing, but in a thoughtful kind of way, I would listen to like metal rap, like some hip hop. But mostly R&B, I'd say.
we'll probably have to ask this one for your boxing fans. What would you listen to when you're trying to get cheated up before a fight, like in the change room or something?
Um, I listen to this really gets me going, like, and cause I think as well, like, I used to train to it, like reggae dancehall music, but not like Bob Marley, like the fucking hardcore, like waves, cartel, no, like I have them tunes bumping in the tunes, just like, cause they're so aggressive. Like if we listen to, it's so aggressive. So that's what gets me going.
Yeah. What about like if you're looking to chill out, whether you're on your own or you and the missus, what would be the like Netflix or series? What one would you be watching at the minute during lockdown and stuff to chill out?
Just finished watching the Michael Jordan one.
Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
Brilliant. What are ones? Tiger King. That was a laugh.
Do you reckon Carol Baskin killed her husband then, or are
It
you,
looks,
not there? Are you not there to comment?
it does seem all. It does seem a bit spicy. But
Do you know what I actually wanted to ask you about the Michael Jordan documentary? A lot of people see Michael Jordan, and I'm only realizing now watching it that like is a bit of a bully, but
mm,
I sort of more seen it as that he was, as he said, striving to pull people along with him to bring him. And I think sometimes bullying can be mistaken for trying to motivate people. Like it's gone out of football now in terms of like the youngsters don't clean boots and all this kind of stuff. What way would you see that in the way like things are moving now with times?
there is a fine line between, like, if you say something to make somebody uncomfortable, it's like, oh, he's a bully. But what I would think a bully is like exploiting someone who's weaker than you, just for no reason, just somebody smaller than you. Give me your money because there's nothing you can do about it, or just torturing someone for your own for no reason,
Like
just to
for
make,
your own gain, in a
yeah, like
sense.
making somebody feel small to make you feel big. Like that's what I would say bullying is. But Michael Jordan, all these guys are all playing for the same thing. They went through the same hurdles that he had to get through to get where he is. So I think he was just motivating them, and the results showed that he was doing the right thing. Like he was getting the best out of the players. So in this, mental health is a big issue in this day and age, but people need to be careful of what's like harming their mental health and what's making their mind stronger. And I think in that Michael Jordan in the last dance, he was like helping guys who had weaker minds than him, because he has a phenomenal mind, the strongest mind I've ever seen in sport or have heard of. Maybe Ronaldo's on the same par, but he was getting guys who were just didn't have that kind of like grit in them and pulling it out of him. Like I've experienced it myself with Paddy Barnes. Like when I was a kid, which I can imagine a lot of these guys they were the best basketballers in their school. When I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid, I was the best boxer in the country. I didn't have to work as hard as anyone else because it was just like that much better in every room. But once I got to the senior team, like you have to work harder, and everything is just up 10 levels. So when Paddy Barnes was there, he was only back from the Olympics, and he used to almost like the way Jordan was with him. Like he used to like get on to me and just like call me a lazy bastard and slag me and all. If I felt like I was getting tired, he was going, "How the fuck are you tired for? You're a lazy cunt." No, like really just on to me. But that has like helped me change my mindset towards training to make me work harder, and then I was trying to keep up with Paddy Barnes, who was like the man at him. So all them guys, they were all trying to keep up with Michael Jordan, who's the best in the world in history. So I think he was more helpful than that.
Yeah, but in respect to that, like Paddy saying stuff like that, Paddy doesn't stand to gain anything from it, because he's not fighting against you for starters.
Exactly. So that was just him like being a friend, and not even at that. When I first went on the team, me and him weren't friends. We just knew each other. So he was just being a teammate and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to get the best out of you. So I think, like I was reading, I think they're trying to get non-league football for under 16s. Like, how are people gonna strive to be the best at something if no one can be the best? And to be the best in sports, it's different from being the best like person you can be, which is a personal thing. But in sports, you have to be better than the competitor, so you need something to strive for.
Tell me this, Tommy. I know that Paddy's a different weight, and I know you're quite close. I used to see videos of you and McConlin and stuff, and you were calling out the Joyces and stuff like that. Do you ever get jealous? Do you ever look at Mick? I know they're different weights and stuff, but is it all happy for him, or do you go like, "Fuck me, I would love to be there"? And
Well, I don't know if jealous is the right word, but I used to. Is envy the same as jealousy? I used to be envious of like when we were all on the team. I was go like, fuck, they won a medal and I haven't. Like I want to be here, and then the way Mick's career took off. Obviously, we're delighted for him. Like it was never never jealous. It was always because I felt like he won, then I won. No, like when your friends win, like we all win together. I was like, I wanted a piece of it, and then my last fight, that kind of made me like feel a wee bit more like yes, like I'm friendly up there with reasons. Because after Chris Suter came up to me and says, "Tommy, you've always been there, but you're always in the background. It's always you and Paddy and Mick, but it's like it's always them two in the front. But now there's only one man in the driving seat, and that's Tommy McCarthy." And my head, my dad says. But
He
that
sort of gave you a bit of a shit sandwich there, didn't he? That you were down and then.
I don't know. But see, like them, they have successful people around you. That like drives you. Well, drove me on to try and work harder to get to that level, because they're your friends and they're from the like similar areas. So you know it's attainable. It's not out of reach.
Yeah, you want to strive to be as good as him. It's like anything with friends. Like if we play football or play tennis or anything, like I don't want to lose to 50. Like I
Exactly.
want to
So,
win every time I play. And just for the listeners to know, he's still yet to beat me. So
well,
but
if you want to tie your ego up to tennis, then go for it.
but not like they're healthy rivalries and healthy things that are good for your mental health. Even if
yeah,
like even if you're beating Vinty all the time, like his mind is getting stronger. Like I'm gonna get him the next time. It's not like it would be very. You have to be very fragile if we're getting depressed or we're like losing tense.
yeah, the smallest things, and I can actually see his mind do that. But is that something that the next generation coming through? Do you feel that they have that to say like to their mate if their mate's beating them? Here, how did you do that shot? Or what way did you thought we fade there? Or would they be too proud?
My experience with young people, because I was working with young people and I was working up in Extown in this wee youth project, and it was all like kids with social workers
Mm-hmm.
and sort of like wayward kids and kids from like hard backgrounds, but they they seem to be like better at communicating things than when I was young, and even in the boxing club, they would speak up more for themselves. But one thing that I know is different in the boxing club with the young people from when I was there. Like when I was from 12, well, for my whole life in the boxing club, you would never cry in the gym. Like if something was hard or you get beat up sparring, like if you cried, you could never show your face in the gym again. And then there was kids crying flat out. I couldn't believe what was going on. So, but I think it made me show the maturity. Like someone was like walking the changing room, and I was going in, they're sitting there crying. I was going, what's going on? But it's such a are the kids getting softer or are they getting more mature? You don't know. Like, it's
Because the crime could be like they're literally that upset that they're losing that they want to be doing.
like here's something in a boxing club, and I couldn't believe it. We Patsy now. A boxing club is just like so much slang goes on and like stuff that is not PC is being said, flattered, and they were doing a circuit. So the boxing circuit is a station. It was probably all like you're standing a circuit or a station, and you just move, go around the circle. The wee lad done his thing, and instead of going right, he went left, and we pats each other. What are you doing there, you silly bastard? Oh, I went wrong. He says, oh, don't be doing it again. You stupid. But like in jest. And this wee lad ran into the team room. What's going on? I followed him in. He was sitting on a crying. Jesus Christ. Like, can you not say anything to people? But it's just, it's the struggle now, I think, for people to be strong mentally and be able to take certainly criticisms, but also be open with their feelings. Like it's so hard to be able to do both.
Yeah, whereas that kid maybe should have just went to himself. I'll show him next time, call me stupid, and
But
then
then
maybe.
again, the reason like why I was shocked, but then went forward, like you don't know what's going on in his house. Like something could have been happening, and that was just the thing that just tipped him over the edge, and he's not even crying about what was said to him.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
Because that boxing club can be like a safe haven for a lot of them kids,
Really?
to go there, they obviously get away with stuff that's going on in the house,
So people just need to, if there is things going on in your mind or in your house, people need to express that instead of like what I said earlier. If they're bottling it up and then it'll just boil over the stupidest things.
Yeah. So, see, obviously, for the people listening, and we're hoping that a lot of people do listen, and obviously that they see that there's more people than just themselves have struggles with mental health. What would be your advice, just to finish on? Like, if anybody is struggling, what do you think they should do? Or
If anyone's struggling, I know all the campaigns said, but it's completely true. Just speak up to someone, and don't be afraid to be honest with yourself. So if you don't have anyone who you can trust to talk to just go and speak with a counsellor. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not weak, and it's very empowering. It's great. You feel great after it. Like I said, when I was speaking to my guy, a sports psychologist, like it was more like a counseling session, and I was telling everyone how I felt brilliant. I just loved going and just getting it all out. So just talk with someone, and it's such a big release and a relief.
Do you find that it's like an armor? I know when I struggled with mine, the minute I decided to tell people and wasn't judged for having it, it's like, fuck, I can almost wear this on my sleeve now. I can be myself. I don't have nothing to hide. It's sort of like a coat of armor.
Definitely. Like, you don't. I don't know how to. Like, you're not. The pressure's off you because if you're something that you're battling up, like, that there is like just weighing you down. And then once you get it off your chest, you just feel like you can walk with your chest out and your head held high, and you don't have any shame. Like something that you like was bothering you. A lot of people, like I said, especially men, feel that going and complaining about something or speaking to someone about mental health issues is weak, but really it makes you stronger to get out there. So when you get the strength from getting that help, it's just gonna radiate just all around you. So you do feel like you've got an armor, and that's where I felt in the fight after like I done 4 weeks with him, one session every week, and I just felt like unbeatable getting in that ring because my mind was right.
Basically, the moral of the story is if it can work for a potential world champion, Tom, then it can work for anybody. Would you be right in saying that?
100%. 100%.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Tommy, for joining us. Great
No
chatting
problem.
with
Thank
you.
you, Tommy.
Good
Thanks
luck,
for
Good
Tom.
man, Tommy. Thank you.
Right.
Cheers.
See you in a bit.